Hey there, Wargamers, Justin our Painter here, and today we're going to talk about self-worth. I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in today, and as we said in the intro, today's Tap Talk is going to be covering the topic of self-worth. Now, that's a little bit broad, and it's something that may come up in segments quite frequently, and maybe some of the same things that I've talked about before, but it's come to my attention that for whatever reason, some of the people in the community here, it's kind of in my face a lot. I can't get away from it. When I post models, we get comments where people say things like, I wish I could paint that good, I'll never be that good, things like that. And you can. We talked about that in the episode 1 of the Tap Talks when we talked about fear, and you can do those things. As Bob Ross said, talent is a pursued interest. Anything you practice, you can do, And I guess that's not necessarily self-worth, but it kind of ties into some of the views here. We had, I put up a post where I talked about having some people paint some models for personal army for me. Nothing huge, but some contributions from the community where they might paint a single mini for like a Tactical Marine Squad or Premier Squad, something like that, and that mini is them in my army. So when I play Warhammer 40K and we were on the tabletop, we could have like a little nameplate for them. So let me reach over here. We got a little guy in arm's reach, and like the Dreadnought here, as I've showed you guys before, he's got a little nameplate, and this one happens to be Brother Oaks. And the idea for the post I made was that people could paint a model, send it to me. I'd give them some store credit at DRD for them to use. They can use those products as they see fit, maybe use it for their streams, their content creation, things of that nature. And when the models came in, I would buy nameplates similar to this with their name on it, and then those models would be used in battle reports, and I'd be able to give them shout outs, and they would attain glory and be immortalized on the tabletop as a member of my army, right? I had a couple people ask me, like, how good we gotta be to get in on this, and I'm like, how good do you have to be? Like, I'm putting it out there for you. You want to paint something, it doesn't matter how good I think something is, it matters how good it is to you. You're competing with yourself. Are you having fun? I had Daff, and he asked me, he's like, am I considered an artist? And I'm like, are you considered an artist? Do you do art? I paint, therefore I'm a painter. I do art, therefore I'm an artist. And it's like, it's come to my attention that some people they have a hard time feeling like they're good enough. And you are. Like, if you paint and you're happy what you're doing, you are good enough. And in this particular case, I'm not trying to compare artist to artist or you to me. I just wanted to have something cool to do, right? And this is just one small thing we're going to tackle here, but this was something that came up, and I'm not worried about that. When I look at art on Instagram too, but on Twitch live, when we do our hobby hangout streams and in the community showcase, and I give you guys some time to shine and I showcase your work, I don't look at it and go, gee golly, this guy's new and he sucks. Like, that doesn't cross my mind. Like, when for me, and I'm different from everybody, but for me, when I see your work, I'm genuinely extremely excited to see you painting, to see what you're doing, how you're progressing. So whether you've been painting for 5 minutes, 5 years, your whole life, I try and look at it through your lenses. If it's your first mini ever, what are you currently doing right? What steps are you taking that you that normal people are currently doing? Like, if you're new, did you clean all your mold lines? Did you apply good thin coats? Were you practicing airbrushing, doing zenithal highlighting? Are you doing edge highlighting? Are you doing washes? Are you doing layering and blending and dry brushing and all those things? Like, what techniques are you using? And I find a lot of times that people, A, they're doing a lot more than I was doing at the same time, and B, they're doing a lot better than they think they are. But unfortunately, I come across people all the time who are unwilling to share their work, and that's fine if that's not what you want to do. But when I crack through that barrier, most of them, more often than not, they're not willing to share because they're afraid. And this is not a fear like the Tap Talk fear. It's I guess sort of, but that's more of a fear of progressing and painting and not doing something. This is a little bit different fear, I suppose. Maybe it's the same. Maybe I'm just rambling. Who knows? But For Bias, for example, had said to me once, he's like, it's something to the effect of not wanting to share his work because he had posted on Facebook and people tore it apart in the comments. And now part of me says, yes, when you open yourself up to the internet, you're going to get critiques, right? You're going to get the for lack of a better term, the assholes. You're going to get that on the internet. But another part of me says some people are real eager to destroy and put down things. It's easier to destroy than to create. They're going to put you down. Regardless, we don't know what's going on in their lives, so perhaps something's going on subconsciously or otherwise, and putting down someone else helps elevate themselves. We never know. The unfortunate byproduct of that is even if we know when we post something on the internet, we are opening ourselves up to negativity potentially. There is a real impact that what people have to say to you has on you. So in the case for Bias, he got a bunch of negative comments or something to that effect and stopped sharing his work. So then I finally convinced him to share and stream, and I'm like, dude, this looks really good. It was a lot better than what I was expecting, because the way he was making it sound, I'm like, oh God, what was he doing that made people say these things? And I'm like, dude, this looks fine. You're doing all these things right. You're progressing as an artist, and some people are just mean, and there is a difference between constructive criticism and being upset about that, and then people just being mean, malicious. Now, if you put your work out there and you're asking for critiques, suggestions, and constructive criticism, sometimes it's going to be a little salt to a wound, so to speak. But if people are delivering it in a constructive, positive way, it's what you ask for. It's helping you grow. But if somebody comes in and just says, this is crap, quit painting, GG Super Pro, hashtag, uninstall, Alt F4, noob, stupid stuff like that, they're not actually helping you. And those are the comments that you shouldn't listen to, right? The fact that the negative comments could encourage, in this case for Bias, to not share work until we got the stream and realized that we're super chill and we want to build and help promote growth and positivity and not negativity. The fact that he may have been discouraged from painting or sharing at all is unfortunate. We had another example. I can't remember the guy's name. If for Bias, I apologize. I put you on blast a little bit there, but it's. I think it's good sometimes to shine a light on a situation and show the growth. In this case, if you've overcome the fact that people discouraged you from painting and sharing, and now you're doing your thing, or at least you feel better about it. But we had another artist in our Twitch community who, during one of the hobby hangouts, he was talking to us in chat, and he wasn't really, much like for Bias, he wasn't interested in sharing. And it wasn't just no, I don't want to share. There was an underlying theme for not wanting to share, right? Similar to for Bias's example, where he was worried about what people would say. Maybe he'd had past experiences that weren't good, things of that nature. And through the conversation I had with him and the exchange, through seeing me engage with other artists and people from the community, through seeing me share other people's work, he then says in the comments, "What the hell? I'll share my work." And I quote, "What's the worst that's going to happen? You'll say something mean to me? Question mark, end quote." Right? Stopped the stream right there and I said, I'm pretty sure I used the F word, right? I won't blast that here, but I'm like, F that. We're not about that life here, man. If you're going to take the time to share your work with me, I'm not going to purposely say something negative to you. I'm going to try and look at your work, give you constructive criticism if you'd like it, and look at it through the lenses of what I think, would be normal for your skill set, where you are at. And that's subjective too, because what I may assume may be different for every person, but I'm still trying to put myself in your painting shoes, right? He shared his work. It was really good for what he had done. He was working on, I think, the first model. You could see the washing and the edge highlighting and so forth looked really good. If I recall, it was a Cadian. It's in our Discord somewhere, but he shared two Cadian models. First one's the first model I ever painted. I'm like, really? This is your first model and you're worried about me saying something bad? This is really good. You're doing stuff that most people whose first model they're not even considering, because they're probably doing like base coating, probably left, stereotypically, just base coating, probably left mold lines, probably had paint showing through, thick coats, things like that. I'm like, dude, this is clean. You got thin coats, you got washers, you got edge highlights, your model's clean. Like, this looks really good. This is impressive for someone who's that new. You're gonna go places, And then he shared his second photo. So this is the second mini I painted. And I was like, dude, you're worried about me saying something mean? And you're working on layering already? On your second mini, you could see the layers where he was trying to transition the colors and then highlight it. And I'm like, dude, this is great. Keep practicing this. If you start doing some glazing and stuff, you're going to bring it all together. This is going to look great. And then we had a very cool, fun, positive, uplifting, constructive conversation afterwards. And it felt good. I felt like I broke through with someone. But it's the fact that he previously wasn't interested in sharing. He was worried. And I think that the theme of today's talk is, being self-worth, is that you can't derive what you're worth, what your art is worth, based solely on the opinions of others. If you're reaching out and you're asking for constructive criticism from artists that you think are better than you, or your contemporaries who are on the same level and maybe they see something with a critical eye you missed, that's fine. That's going to help you grow. But you can't take negative comments from people and even the constructive criticism so far to heart that it makes you feel like you want to quit. If that's ever happening, those negative people are really winning. They're having a permanent, real impact on you. They're causing you to not pursue, growth in this hobby that you love, and you're letting them win. And that same philosophy and belief is true with everything in life. Sure, in life there are times when you are competing with people more than yourself. That's an unfortunate truth. But the one competition you have the most impact on is competing with yourself. Are you going to be a better painter today than you were yesterday? Are you going to be a better painter tomorrow than you are today? Are you going to be a better version of yourself today than you were yesterday? Are you going to be a better version of yourself tomorrow than you are today? It doesn't have to be just painting. Maybe you're on a diet. Maybe you're trying to exercise. Maybe you're trying to eat, have less sugar, less energy drinks, quit smoking, quit drinking, quit watching so much TV, quit playing so much video games, quit compulsive spending, whatever it is. Maybe you're trying to perform better at your job, do these things. Sure, you can compete with other people, but you're competing with yourself. Control that, and other things in your life will come. Don't derive your value solely on what others place on that. And a good example of this, at least in regards to art, depending on what styles you're interested in, look at like realism and abstract art. Those, like, I value realism. Like, I like to see something that someone can paint it and canvas or otherwise, and it looks real. I like the real details. It's why when I'm on stream, you guys will hear me talk about how I want to learn to do contrast better on miniatures, but often, sometimes the best looking armies on tabletop, air quotes, to the community, to the judges and stuff, can be models with very high contrast. But oftentimes, that contrast is sacrificing realism, right? That's why, like, a zenithal highlight's very close to realistic, because you've got the light source hitting, and that could be the sun, could be the flashlight or the spotlight or whatever's hitting the model, and you're painting from that perspective. If you're specifically pushing contrast in every armor panel, for that to be real, you may have to have lights all over the place in little areas to push those shadows. But on a miniatures game, that looks really good, for the average person, and even a lot of the judges and stuff, they like that. For me, I like stuff that looks real. For you, you may like the contrast look, not paints, but contrast style. But that's the same for traditional art as well. Like, I like realism. Some people like abstract. So you may look at somebody who flings paint on a canvas or does things of that nature where it's not necessarily realistic, but it's their form of self-expression. So for me, in my opinions, the realism is better. For someone in their opinions, they may dislike the realism because they see the real stuff every day in real life, and they like the abstract because it's different. It all depends on what you like, and that's a perspective, right? Which we've covered that in a T.A.P talk too, conveniently enough. If you haven't caught up on those, you check out my playlist here on YouTube. See the previous T.A.P talks. Maybe you'll throw them up and listen to them while you're painting or hanging out, or if you just want to read me in the comments with the things I have to say, that's some fuel for you if you want to listen to those opinions I've got, or just listen to me ramble. But the point is, I like realism. You might like abstract, right? And because you do abstract painting, my opinions of that work may be different. Now, I feel like I'm a little bit different because if I know you come at it from I like abstract, or I like to go heavy on the cartoon style of painting or the contrast painting style, I'm going to try and view it from the art that it is. But there are people who are going to judge you based on their opinions, and that's fine. And there are award-winning artists who paint a certain way, and their views are going to be a certain way. So whether you are on that level where you're able to compete, or you're on this side of things where you're very new, everything in between, the opinions of everyone else, are what those are, opinions. Even from the professionals, the views of one professional are going to differ from another one, right? So you can't derive or you shouldn't, derive your worth of your art and your self-worth specifically on what anyone else has to say. Take those things with a grain of salt. Let that fuel you and encourage you to grow and progress, become a better artist, a better person, but don't let it bring you down, because you could take your art piece to 10 different competitions with 10 different, artists at each one that are going to be judges, and get the feedback from each one, and it may be different. Some may have more constructive criticism to say, others may have less, but you're going to get different views. Some are going to like it, some are going to not. You may take a piece somewhere and it may place, and it may not in another place, even though you feel it's better than the competition. You never know, because it's all objective, is what one might say, because it's from the professionals who are supposed to be using an objective view, but art itself is subjective. And, if you're trying to stack yourself up against others, the way that people discern what's good and bad is based on opinions. And the ultimate opinion that matters the most is your own. You may post something that no one likes, but if you do, that's what matters. Are you, progressing? Are you doing art the way you want to do art? Because it means something to you, and that's what matters at the end of the day, right? But these TAP Talks are meant to kind of bridge the gap between hobby and reality. So we're talking about painting, we're talking about art, and our hobby and our miniatures. But your self-worth in that realm goes way beyond that. It's how you feel about yourself as an artist is one thing. How you feel about yourself outside art is another thing too. But those same feelings, they can kind of meld and blur, right? So you paint a mini, you enter in a contest, you don't win. Do you feel bad? Do you feel good? How do you feel about it? You paint a mini, you slay work, you spend a lot of time, you think it's really good for you. You post it up in a Facebook group and people tear it up. How does that make you feel? You throw something in a Discord, you take it to a painting competition, you take it to a local shop, and one of the things that during my podcast chat with Useless Wizard from Twitch, Ryan from Facebook, he talked about how one of the things that motivated him to grow was when he had spent a lot of time painted a piece and then showed it to someone and said, "This is a pretty good start." And he was like, I think he said something to the effect of he felt crushed because he'd spent so much time progressing as an artist in so many years, and then someone said, "This is a good start." And he's like, "Well, I've spent all this time on it." And that he channeled that feeling to make him want to grow, become a better artist, learn new techniques and so forth. But some people may take that type of thing and it may crush them. It may demotivate them. And you can't allow that to happen. You can't allow your self-worth and your motivations to be completely dictated by others. Now, as you get positive feedback, that may be good fuel to push you forward and give you motivation, makes you feel good. But don't let the negative feedback or the lack of feedback at all, or the lack of feelings and interaction with people, based on what you do, stop you. Let that fuel you to grow and become whatever it is that you want to be. But I think that sometimes we engage on social media, on Instagram, Twitch, in real life with people on the tabletop and gaming, and we feel good when others show us recognition. We feel good when we post a photo up on Instagram and get 1,000 likes. We feel good when we put something on Facebook, get a bunch of likes, a bunch of shares. And I feel like in society now, we chase that sometimes, right? And when you post something and you don't get the feedback you think you deserve, it can be demotivating. Make you feel like you're not worth as much. And that's unfortunate, and that's not how you should feel. Don't place so much weight on what other people think. And I know we're beating that dead horse, but it's the truth. A strong painting community, a strong gaming community. When you go beyond that, you look at real life. Just like in those categories, you got to surround yourself with a positive, constructive, and healthy series of people. It's better to have a small circle of friends that are close and have your best interests at heart than a large circle of what you think are friends who don't care about you or just want to see you fail because it makes them feel like they're succeeding, or see you not doing as well because it makes them feel like they're better. The last thing that I want to do, for example, is to specifically seek out artists who are new to be in my circle because it makes me feel superior. I'm not saying all you guys do. I'm not saying everyone does it, but sometimes people have that mentality, and you have to surround yourself with people who want to see you succeed, people who want to motivate you, people who can tell you the hard truth sometimes because you can take it and they want to see you grow, but you don't want to surround yourself with negativity. It's why the internet can be a gift and a curse. You can meet cool people, you can get good feedback, but you are opening yourself up to people who can be negative. As I said before, humanity has a way of, it's easier for humanity to destroy than it is to create, right? So when you're out on the internet and you're worried about, not say you worry, but you're posting your work, you're putting yourself out there, you may actually find you're getting a lot more negativity than positivity, or you may get not as much positivity as you want, even if there's a lack of negativity. Because a negative post, negative post, if you're looking at the news, something bad happens, it gets so much attention. Somebody discovers a new planet in the solar system, which is really cool scientifically. We find water on Mars or whatever. It doesn't get as much attention. The bad things, they fester and they breed, and they get a lot of attention from people. And it's the same way. It's kind of a belligerent feeling that I think that you have to work to overcome. Humanity has a way about it historically of just destroying. It is easy to destroy. It's not easy to create. It is easy to say something negative about someone. It's easy to see faults. It's easy to compare yourself to someone else and find reasons to feel you're superior. It's hard for some people. It's not for me. I try. I think I do pretty well, but it's hard for some people to see the good in others, to see the good and not just the faults. Here's a good experience. Think about the last time you went to a restaurant and it was A+, 110%, posted on Facebook, told everyone you should go there. When's the last time, right? When's the last time you had a bad experience at a restaurant? When's the last time you had a restaurant where you had poor service or poor food, right? For a lot of you, you probably remember the bad ones over the negative ones, right? When's the last time you went to a game store and you ran into that guy, right? How many times have you been in the game store and met someone who was super cool and became a really good friend and really, bolstered you, right? We tend to gravitate towards the negative. That's what resonates, right? And if you allow that negativity to fester and brew inside you, you may be holding yourself back. So, those things are going to happen. You're gonna deal with it. People are going to say negative things, and you're gonna deal with that. But the way that you try and combat it, the way that you bounce back, the way that you, in the face of those negative things, try and grow anyway, those things are what is important. You have to focus on those things, And I really don't like when people say, well, you're posting on the internet anyway, you brought that on yourself. I don't like that, but that is a truth. You do know you're putting yourself out there. So try to sift through the negativity and the bullshit that you're going to encounter on the internet, and look for those grains of truth, those diamonds in the rough, those little nuggets of positivity that people are giving you because they want to see you grow. They want to see you improve. It's the same way I approach battle reports, tutorials, things of that nature that I do online, even Twitch. I welcome the constructive criticism. Sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it's hard to take that. But people are going to take the time to actually give you a well thought out comment on what you've done right and what you can improve on. I feel like they've taken some time to share a bit of knowledge they feel might help you grow. Taking time to just say, this battle report sucks, quit playing 40k, get good scrub, paint better, googly eye, pro painted, eBay, you suck. Like, those things, they don't help. They only make you feel good, make you think you're saying something funny and you're not. Those people aren't doing anything. So learning to sift through that crap, find the positive stuff and try and grow, that's what's important. And in closing here, I think we've beat this dead horse, and if not, at least I've rambled about something, and hopefully it's been entertaining. Nomadic Chris from Twitch had proposed to me an interesting concept about having a close circle of artists, in this case, because we paint here, a close circle of artists who are all committed to helping each other grow, right? And he's like, the whole point of this thought circle, paint circle, whatever he called it, is for people to trust each other. You have to trust each other and know that sometimes they're going to say stuff that may be harsh, but because other people may not give you the honest critique, and you may not grow without it, and that comes with trust. It comes from having the concept that I talked about, like having a close circle of good friends you trust. It's like that, where you've got people who want to see you grow. They want to give you that advice, give you the critiques you need, because they want to see you become what you want to see you, like, unlock all that potential that you have. If you find that someone's bringing you down and there's no way to reconcile it, you can be polite with those people, but ignore them or cut them out. There's just not a lot of time on this planet. You don't want to invest a lot of your time worrying about people who don't have your best interests at heart. And a good example here of how I approach some of this. We've got a guy. So I paint on Twitch, obviously, and there's a lot of artists who share work. Some new, some veterans, various levels of degree and skill, quality, all in between there. And I get a lot of people who are like, "You're so good, I'll never be as good. I wish I could be as good. I wish I could be on Twitch and do battle reports, and you're so lucky," and blah blah blah. Happens all the time. I try so hard to tell them, and hopefully it's not condescending, but I try to tell them, you can do this. There's nothing I'm doing on stream. There's nothing you've seen in my videos or my photos on Instagram or anything that you can't do. You can do all of it if you're willing to practice, right? But in this example, these are all the people that view me as a superior or better artist or whatever the hell they see me as. They feel the art is something they're not able to do, which they can. But it's easy for some people to want to surround themselves with all of that because it makes them feel good, right? One of the things that I love is when someone comes in and they drop the paintbrush, like a drop in the mic, right? And we got a guy, in a polite way, we got a guy from the Garrison who, I think it's Twitch, he's All Day Classics is his name, and then on Instagram it's Gavin something or other, Gavin Paints or something like that. If you're watching this, buddy, we talk about you here, and he comes in and he's sharing these, he almost dropped an F-bomb there. He's sharing these blood ravens he's painting. Every week, every other week, he's coming in stream and he's sharing them. And when we bring up the pictures in Discord, I always skip his and I make him go last. And I'm like, you gotta wait for your feedback last, buddy. You should come in here trying to make me look bad. Come on, man. I always say some shit like that. And I say that because I feel like he's one of the artists that is equal to or better than me in a lot of areas, right? And I don't like to compare. It's not something I like to do. But you do it a little bit in your head, and you kind of know, like, okay, I'm on a similar level to this artist, or like this guy's way better, he's professional, but like I could do some of those things with practice. Like, you kind of know. You don't want to drive your self-worth specifically comparing to other people. I know I said I was going to get off here when we're rambling, but he came in and I was like, oh man, dude, come on. You can't come in here trying to make me look bad. I shared his work and I went through it, and I'm giving him a little bit of shit, obviously, but I was like, dude, these are incredible, right? And he's come in, I think, 3 times. He's shown some Blood Ravens recently, and every time I'm like, come on, man, your work looks so great. And then I was actually peeping and reading his Instagram the other day, and he's only been painting for 2 years. And then I was just like, 2 years, only 2 years. I've been painting for 10, professionally for 8, and I could not believe it. I was like, oh my god, this guy's so good. He's only been painting 2 years. Where's he gonna be in 2 years? What am I doing? I need to improve. I gotta compete with this guy a little bit. Like, I'm not saying I'm trying to be better, but like, I could do things too, right? So motivation, a little friendly competition mentally, I suppose. But my point is, there are artists that are new that hang out. There are artists that are professionals, great, that hang out with me, and everything in between. And this guy is one that's consistently showed work that, for me, from my opinion, my perspective, is equal to or better than my own. And he gets in stream, and I still give him the attention it deserves. I still showcase his work. It's not me just trying to showcase the underlings or some shit like that, because you guys are not underlings. You are my contemporaries or my supporters, viewers, all of those things. But he steals the show a little bit, and that's completely okay. I like that. Like, just because in this case I feel he is equal to or superior in certain aspects or completely, it doesn't mean that my art's not still good to me or to some of you guys, right? I'm not deriving my self-worth on others, because I look at some people on Instagram and I see their work and I go, God, what am I doing? That guy's really good. I gotta practice. And I stopped looking at work and letting it, other people's work, and stopped letting it make me feel like I'm not good, and started using it as motivation. And I started using it as, or looking at it as art and being like, I may never be as good, but this guy's real good, it's motivating, and I like what he's doing, and I want to do those same types of things, you know? And finally, I know I said I was going to stop rambling, but I have those stories and things to share, and if anything, it gives you guys some things to listen to here, obviously. But as I was discussing here at the end, comparing your work to others, it is a double-edged sword. It's always nice to look at your own work, assess how you stack up to people that you aspire to follow and take inspiration from. But it's worth noting that they have their own talents, their own skills. They're in their competition with themselves and maybe even other artists to a degree. But you can take inspiration from them and take what they do, try and learn and adapt and make it your own and do your own art as well. If you worry so much and you place too much emphasis on comparing your work to others, you may forget to be yourself and do your own art. It's why when I see like a Sam Lins, I talk about him a lot recently and all the time on Twitch, because he is, damn it if he's not awesome. He's super good, right? And not only that, his personality's chill. I love listening to him in stream, and he's such a nice, humble guy. And there's some artists that aren't, some who are. You know, and I look at his art and I go, shit, am I ever going to be that good? Can I do this? And then I go, you know what? I may not be as good. I can try some of those techniques. I can do these things. And when comparing work and looking at another artist, instead of letting that make me feel worthless or less, I try and take this as a time to help me grow and give me goals, you know, places to be, but also remembering that I don't want to just emulate and copy. I want to learn techniques and be my own artist. So when you guys watch me or watch any other artist or compare, use that as motivation. But if you feel they're better, don't let that make you feel bad. Don't let that dictate your worth, right? You're still worth something. You're still important, always. Just use that as motivation and you know, an idea, set guidelines on where you want to go, what you want to be, what you want to learn to do. Those things like that. If you place too much emphasis on comparison, you're always going to find an artist you're either better than, in your opinion, to make yourself feel good, and then that may make you stagnant and not pursue growth, or you may always find someone you're better than, and that may make you stagnant and not pursue growth, because you're like, why bother if I'm never going to be this good? Those two things could happen. The answer lies in the middle. When you see other people's work that you feel somehow you're superior to, if they're asking for critiques, give them suggestions from your perspective and be nice about it if they want that. You know, if you feel like they have something they could learn, you know, and improve on, be that positivity in their life. Help bolster them. Hell, even if you're not sure if you can add anything to the conversation in terms of growth, you just be like, this is really good, man, keep it up. You know, help bolster people, help them grow. And when you see someone's art you feel is superior, you know, do the same thing. You don't have to give them a necessarily constructive criticism. Just like, I really love what you're doing, man. You're inspiring me to grow. Let them know. Let artists know that, you know, rather than you feeling not good enough or feeling superior, that you are glad to see them on the grind and see them growing. You're glad to see this person excelling and doing so well because it motivates you to grow yourself, right? So stop competing with everyone else. Stop trying to place yourself in the #1 spot above someone else, and just start competing with you. Your self-worth starts on the inside, and the way that you allow other people to impact you really is up to you up here. You got to work on it, you got to practice it, and let the things that are important stick and resonate, and let that other bullshit just slide right on off. Just like paint off a model. Let it flow and let it be gone. But on that note, folks, I think we've rambled for enough today. I'm not sure if I got the point across exactly what I want. I don't have a script for these. I just turn on the camera, I have a topic I want to address and just share with you guys, and the intent here is it's for something to bridge the gap between painting and reality a little bit, you know, because self-worth's a big deal. In this case, we're focusing on painting and gaming and things of that nature. Actually, mostly painting. We didn't focus much on gaming, but those same philosophies and views on how you view others, you can extrapolate and apply that to the workforce, your friends, people at the gym, people in athletics, whatever it is you're doing. Real world stuff, right? That we're dealing with in our little hobby, our little universe. And I want to share that with you guys and give you something to think about while you're painting, listen to me ramble, maybe even rage a little bit if you don't agree with it, that's fine. And that leads me into the first thing I'll say here in closing. If you enjoyed this, I encourage you guys to subscribe to the channel, like this video, ding that little bell so you get alerts when I put up new content. And as always, if you agree with what I'm saying, if you have any thoughts, concerns, critiques, anything at all, I encourage you to sound off in the comments below. How do you deal with self-worth? What do you do to build yourself up and make yourself feel good, motivated to paint? How do you get through everyday life with this type of stuff? Let's hear about it. Get a conversation started down below. If you'd like to help support the channel here, I encourage you guys to check out deathredesigns.com. Coupon code GetAmped10 will save you 10%, and a portion of that will come back to me in the form of a bonus, which helps me to continue to do videos like this, which I love to do for you guys, as well as pick up models, painting materials, tools, and things of that nature to use on Twitch and here on YouTube. And if you're looking to get some awesome terrain or some painting materials, stencils, things of that nature, can't go wrong with Death Row Designs, and happen to work there. It's my day job, so technically night job, sort of. But that's where my 40 hours a week come in, so helping them helps me in two ways. And if you want to become a super supporter, I'd like to encourage you guys to check out my Patreon page. We've got a variety of tiers, both small and large, and your contributions, however small or large, do have a direct impact. I could not do these videos without the contributions of my patrons and you guys sitting there watching these videos, liking, subscribing, viewing, all those things. But the monetary contributions are allowing me to shift time away from my day job to continue doing videos like this. They allow me to continue to do battle reports, tutorials, and to do things over on Twitch. So big shout out and thank you to my patron supporters. And if you'd like to become one, there's a link there and there'll be one down below. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'd like to encourage that conversation down below if you're interested. But as we sign off here, I gotta say the things I say every time. Keep on painting those models, keep rolling those dice, and I'll catch you guys during the next video.